Hello everybody, welcome to That's Football. I'm Mark Goldbridge and this is your latest transfer news, and it's about outgoings because it is the transfer window. Lots to talk about. Liverpool 2 signings could be happening this week. Arsenal, are they going to get moving on a striker? A few other bits about exits from Arsenal as well. Also, Ekitike, could Liverpool miss out on him to Chelsea? That's the latest. But let's start off with Ange Postecoglou. It's all going off. It's not official yet. It could be official by the time you watch this. Spurs have made their decision apparently, and Ange Postecoglou will be leaving this week. It really does remind me of the Erik ten Hag scenario last year with Manchester United, where he won the trophy, the club didn't back him, they let him go on holiday, and there was this big sort of grey area for 2 weeks. Then they did keep him, but they were clearly talking to other clubs. They should have sacked Ten Hag. I didn't want him to get sacked, but the way the club behaved, they sacked him anyway. They should have done. They'd have saved themselves £300 million. It's very, very clear that Spurs are going to sack Postecoglou. Whether it's right or wrong, get in the comments. But he won the trophy. They should have come out and said he's our manager. They didn't. That left uncertainty. If there's uncertainty, you've got to act decisively and you've got to move on. If you're uncertain, you've got to learn from what your Man United did last year with Ten Hag. There's fans at Spurs who want to change. There's fans at Spurs that don't. But obviously the board are uncertain. Are you going to back a manager or not? I think ultimately, I've got to say, Spurs are a good side. I don't think that is well, they're not a good side in the Premier League, but they've just won the Europa League. I think they've got components of being a good side. And under Ange, I would say that they're one of the best teams in the Premier League to watch, but not for the right reasons if you're a Spurs fan. I like the high line. I like that they're an entertaining team, but ultimately they've had a terrible Premier League season. And if you hadn't won the Europa League, you definitely would have been sacked. That's the biggest trophy Spurs have won in my lifetime, by the way. So it is typically Spurs to actually win a trophy and then sack the manager. But Ange can walk away from that. And ultimately, unless they had an amazing start to the season, which I don't think they would, then he would have been sacked anyway. So it just makes sense for everybody. But what a job to walk into. They're talking about Thomas Frank. Who do you think will be the next Spurs manager? What a job to walk into. You've got money, you've got the Champions League, and you've got a bit of time. So interesting, very interesting. Let's talk about Ekitike. So I apologise for this. I actually can't remember. I wonder if I can get it while I'm live. Ekitike. Chelsea apparently are favourites now, even though Liverpool are interested. I can't remember who it was who said it. Somebody in the chat will know, but it might have been Pletigol. Remember, it is Nations League this week. That it is internationals this week as well. So that could slow things down for some people. But yeah, Chelsea want 2 strikers. Apparently they're leading the race for Ekitike, but Liverpool are interested. You just wonder how interested Liverpool actually are, because Fabrizio is saying that with Wirtz, it will happen. I'll read you what he said, because I actually have this in front of me. So in relation to Wirtz, Liverpool remain confident that they'll get the deal done as a new round of talks have been scheduled this week. Club optimistic to get the agreement sealed with Leverkusen soon. So obviously they've confirmed the Frimpong deal, and they're confident that they can get that one done soon. They've then got Kerkez report this morning that Liverpool are preparing to put a formal bid in for Kerkez, who only wants Liverpool. He's already agreed to the move and is valued at around £40 million. So Frimpong done. Kerkez going to be done very soon. Wirtz, they still remain very, very confident on. Ekitike, I mean, Liverpool do need to bring a forward in, but I suppose when you've got 3 deals done right at the start of the window, you don't necessarily have to rush on the forward, do you? And they have still got players that they can move out. Kelleher apparently is going to go out as well. I was thinking about that yesterday. They got about 10 million from Real Madrid for Trent because they wanted him a month early. They're going to get about 18 million for Kelleher. They've basically paid for Frimpong already, haven't they? With that, about 30 million. So, yeah, I think Kerkez obviously is going to be a very good signing for them. Wirtz will be a very good signing for them. But Ekitike, Chelsea can be quite aggressive in a transfer window, as we've seen many times over the years. And if they've got their heart set on Ekitike, then maybe that's where they're going to go. The only thing I would say about Chelsea is, and I'll say it again, I still have to say, why is it you won't buy an experienced striker? Why is it they've always got to be under 23? Leonardo DiCaprio FC. Why is it? I know why. They have a policy of buying players young on long-term contracts, but I do think experience matters sometimes. And I've always said I feel like Chelsea, if they went and got Victor Osimhen 2 years ago, they'd be in a very different position. But Ekitike is a good player. Obviously, they brought Delap in, but they are younger players again going on there. Arsenal, we still don't know what they're going to do with the striker. Probably Sesko, could still be Gyökeres. There is talks that Thomas Partey could be on his way out again, which is interesting because I thought he was going to stay. But it's gone a bit quiet around Arsenal. Zubimendi, I think, is a player for Arsenal now, isn't he? I certainly think we have the here we go. But they need to get that striker in. Look, I think when you're Arsenal, you're not going to buy 5 or 6 players, and pre-season's not until like first week of July. So they have got all of June to get that striker in, and that's the big deal. So getting it done early would be great for Arsenal fans, but ultimately, as long as you've got a striker by the end of this month, that's what matters. And maybe they're taking their time on that, in a strong position. Maybe they know they've got Sesko or Gyökeres. I genuinely do think that Arsenal are controlling the destinies of Sesko and Gyökeres. I actually think the reason it's so quiet around Gyökeres is because both Gyökeres and Sesko want to go to Arsenal, and Arsenal are just deciding which one they want. Because there's a lot of confusion in the United fan base as to why Man United can't just put an offer in for Gyökeres, but it just feels like it's just so quiet around him. He probably wants Arsenal, and Arsenal are probably just deciding which one they want, because it can work like that. We saw it with Liam Delap, where he was going around deciding where he wants to go, but it can work the other way, where a club has 2 or 3 players for a position, they all want to come, and then the club decides, and I think that's what's happening with him at the moment. Let me know your thoughts on that. Ronaldo, if you're interested in Ronaldo, obviously he's completed his contract now in Saudi, but this is what Fabrizio has had to say. Al Nassr are set to present their plan to Ronaldo, hoping to get a new deal sorted. They're preparing changes to get Ronaldo's green light and sign new contract at Al Nassr. Luis Diaz, David Hanko, world-class midfielder, and more targets have been added to summer shortlist. So the Saudi journey for Cristiano may not be over. There was talk of him leaving. There was talk of Sporting. There was talk of the Club World Cup. I never really felt that Ronaldo was going to be part of this Club World Cup. There's just something about the United States and Ronaldo that I didn't think it was going to happen this summer, but presumably it's going to happen next summer in the World Cup, so maybe it still could. But looking like there is an opportunity for Ronaldo to stay in Saudi, and looking like Saudi is going to be very, very significant. I mean, the only thing I would say is, do you think that we are going to actually have an inflated transfer market now with some of the money that's swashing around from Saudi? Could that knock prices up in Europe as well? Makes it difficult for those clubs who do want to do a lot of business, which makes sense why some clubs like Liverpool are getting it done early. Get your comments in anyway. What do you think about the week ahead? Do you think Liverpool could stop Ekitike going to Chelsea, or do you think it's better letting Chelsea have that deal? Do you agree with me that Gyökeres and Sesko are waiting on Arsenal, and that's why it's so quiet around them in relation to other targets for other clubs? Also, Ange, are they right to let him go? Are they right to let him stay? And any other comments you want to get in as well. Thanks everyone for watching. Smash a like on the video. Make sure you subscribe. I'll speak to you on the next one.